وسع كرسيه السماوات والأرض ولا يؤوده حفظهما وهو العلي العظيم.
And you don't have to do except just practice where you are sitting. We have learned so far four important patterns of verb fa'ala, that is fataha, yaftahu, and on that pattern we have learned ja'ala and fa'ala. Second pattern is nasara, yansuru, and on this pattern we learned a lot of words, because in Quran as well as in Arabic language lot of verbs come, like dakhala, abada, razaqa, kafara, and so on. The third pattern is daraba, yadribu, and on this pattern we learned four words including daraba, zalama, sabara, ghafara. If you remember that sequence, if you hit someone, you are doing oppression, and the one who is hit should do sabr, and the other one, if you cannot do, another one should ask forgiveness of Allah. And the fourth pattern was sami'a, and on that pattern also we did four words, and there was a link also. If you hear sami'a, then alima, then amila, then Allah will have rahima if the actions are good, with good intention. Okay, so far we did a lot of verbs, more than maybe around 20 verbs. But in any of these verbs, if any of the letter of the three letters, like in razaqa, dakhala, abada, alima, in any of these letters, if there is one of these three weak letters, waw, ya, alif, then an interesting situation develops. Okay, an interesting, don't say challenging, don't say problem, say interesting things, change your attitude, and inshallah it is very interesting. These letters waw, ya, alif are called weak letters or sick letters, huruf al-illa. Why are they called sick letters? Or interestingly, one of the reasons is a sick person, if he is under, is suffering from too much pains, he will make out such sounds. He'll say ah, e, oo, and that's the reason they are called waw and weak letters or sick letters. They are weak. That means they get tired. They cannot carry on in all these forms continuously. But the beauty is these three weak letters support each other. Even if there is one weak letter, like for example qala has weak letter in the middle. Yaqulu, in mudari' alif is changed by waw. So these weak letters keep changing in different forms of these verbs. Today we will take three verbs whose root letters are having a weak letter, and the first root letter is a weak letter, which is wa'ada, wajada, or walada. All of these three verbs start with waw, which is a weak letter, and we will see what happens. Okay, so repeat after me. Wa'ada comes in the Quran 124 times. Wa'ada, he promised. Wa'adu, they promised. Wa'atta, you promised. Wa'attum, you all promised. Wa'attu, I promised. Wa'adna, we promised. Ya'idu, he promises. Ya'iduna, they promise. Ta'idu, you promise. Ta'iduna, you all promise. A'idu, I promise. Na'idu, we promise. Id, promise. Idu, promise. La ta'id, don't promise. La ta'idu, don't promise. Wa'id, the one who promises. Wa'id, the one who promises. Maw'ud, that which is promised. Maw'ud, the what which is promised. Wa'd is promise.
Wa'ad is promise.
Okay. Huwa wa'ada, hiya wa'adat, she promised. and huwa ya'idu hiya ta'idu, she promises. You see here wa'ada wa'adu wa'atta wa'attum wa'attu wa'adna, ya'idu. Here it should have been yaw'adu. You see fataha yaftahu, nasara yansuru, daraba yadribu. So it should have been wa'ada yaw'idu. But the weak letter has gone and it is difficult to say yaw'idu, so the Arabs made it ya'idu just to make life easy. Similarly, we have id, it should have been, we have fa'ala if'al, daraba idrib. So it should have been wa'ada iw'id, it should have been like that, but to say iw'id is difficult, so weak letter is gone. And also to remember in a very simple way, you can say whenever the weak letters are commanded, they just run away. So in this form weak letters don't exist. You take qala, qul, wa'ada, id, wajada, jid and so on, you will see it. So in commandments they just don't survive. Here are this is the first pattern, so let us repeat it once more, practice it. Wa'ada wa'adu, wa'atta wa'attum, wa'attu wa'adna, ya'idu ya'iduna, ta'idu ta'iduna, a'idu na'idu, a'idu na'idu, id idu, la ta'id la ta'idu, la ta'id la ta'idu, wa'id maw'ud, wa'd, huwa wa'ada hiya wa'adat, huwa ya'idu hiya ta'idu. MashaAllah. Now we will practice wajada, he found. Wajada means he found. Can you translate please? Wajada, he found. Wajadu, they found. Wajadta, you found. Wajadtum, you all found. Wajadtu, I found. Wajadna, we found. Yajidu, he finds. This is just like wa'ada, okay? Yajidu, he finds. Yajiduna, they find. Tajidu, you find. Tajiduna, you all find. Ajidu, I find. Najidu, we find. Jid, find. Jidu, find. La tajid, don't find. La tajidu, don't find. Wajid, the one who finds. Mawjud, that which is found. Wujud, to find. Huwa wajada hiya wajadat, she found. Hiya huwa yajidu hiya tajidu, she finds. Now inshallah with practice you can be easily able to, you will be inshallah easily translating it. So repeat after me in Arabic, okay, all of you with attention. Take a deep breath and let us practice. Wajada wajadu, wajadta wajadtum, wajadtu wajadna, yajidu yajiduna, yajidu yajiduna, tajidu tajiduna, tajidu tajiduna, ajidu najidu, ajidu najidu, jid jidu, jid jidu, la tajid la tajidu, la tajid la tajidu, wajid wajid, mawjud mawjud, wujud wujud. Huwa wajada hiya wajadat, huwa yajidu hiya tajidu. MashaAllah. The last one is walada, he gave birth. Of course a man doesn't give birth, but this is a verb that we have to follow. Walada waladu, walatta walattum, walattu waladna, yalidu yaliduna, talidu taliduna, alidu nalidu. So let us repeat after me once, because the topic of giving birth, Qul huwa Allahu ahad Allahu samad, lam yalid wa lam yulad. Allah doesn't give birth and he did not give birth, he did not give birth and nor is he begotten. So he is not son of anyone and he is not father of anyone. So let us repeat after me. Walada waladu, walatta walattum, walattu waladna, yalidu yaliduna, talidu taliduna, alidu nalidu, lid lidu, la talid la talidu, walid mawlud, wilada. Huwa walada hiya waladat, she gave birth, and huwa yalidu hiya talidu, she gives birth. These are the three verbs that we practiced which start with weak letter. Wow, wow, wow. We traditional Muslims and born Muslims generally, who are born in a Muslim family, generally commit 3 crimes. What are they? They recite salah at super high speed. You know, if you are a manager of a company and if your assistant comes to you talking in this way, now I work in this company, you will immediately get disturbed, you will be offended, you will be very angry, you will say, don't you know how to talk, don't you have manners? And that's the way we are talking to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Astaghfirullah. Is this the manners with Allah? Say, Alhamdulillah, what is this? Is this the manners? The second thing that we do is we think somewhere else. Astaghfirullah. You know, we start salah and we start planning, we have to go and do this one, that one. If the same thing is done to you, if you are a manager and an assistant comes to you and starts praising you, no, thank you sir, you are so kind, you are wonderful, you have done excellent work, and suppose you are able to read his mind and you know that the guy is thinking about his vacation, or he wants to go home and start relaxing and do something or cooking, you will be very offended. You will say, stop it, please, get out, get lost, I don't want this praise from your mouth, when your mind is thinking somewhere else. Astaghfirullah, that's what we do in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And one of the major reason is we don't understand. So the solution is understand and use your imagination to the full extent, and feelings, recite with feelings. So far we have learned that there are 4 different styles, important styles of fa'ala, or abwab of fa'ala, or patterns. First one is fataha yaftahu, okay. The second one is nasara yansuru, just sound of u there. Daraba yadribu, sami'a yasma'u, okay. These are 4 important styles. There are 2 more, but we are not going to cover that. Those are karuma yakrumu and hasiba yahsibu, very rarely used in the Quran. So we just focus on these 4 which are extensively used. We also have learned that in any of these words, in any of these letters, the 3 root letters, if one of them is a weak letter, then an interesting situation develops. That is, if one of them is waw or ya or alif, then these letters basically are weak, they get tired, they don't continue in all the forms, number 1. Number 2, they work as a team. If one is there in this form, like qala, yaqulu, waw will come in that form, and in qila, ya will come. So they keep replacing each other in different forms, and actually that is for ease of pronunciation. Wa'ada, walada and wajada, these 3 verbs had waw in the beginning, a weak letter in the beginning. In this session we will take 2 verbs, qala and qama, which have weak letter in the middle, okay. Like qala, we have alif there in the middle. The roots are qaf, waw, lam, but as far as in qala is concerned, we have alif as weak letter there in the middle. Let us see what happens when we have that in the middle. By the way, the verb qala comes in the Quran 1719 times. So many times, mashallah, it's very, very precious. This is the most precious exercise. By the way, let me tell you one thing. Quran these days, everybody says we should have communication skills, okay. Subhanallah, the most commonly occurring verb in the Quran is qala, which teaches us communication skills. Why? How? Well, let me tell you one thing. You see, this is book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the creator. He could have simply said, this is my book, you are my creation. Rule number 1, worship me. Rule number 2, obey your parents. 3, 4, 5, 6, 100, stop, that's it. Listen to me, otherwise I'll send you to hellfire. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not do like that. He is very kind. What he did is he quoted all the objections of disbelievers, all the objections of people. He said, وَيَقُولُونَ قُلْ, they are saying this, قُلْ. So there is a communication, and in this world the most difficult task is to convert the faith of a person, to change the faith of a person, and Al-Quran has changed the faith of millions, in fact billions over the history. So please, study the Quran with, and you will get prosperity in this world and in the hereafter, and you will learn the best of the skills. Okay, so let us practice this after me. Qala, he said.
Qala, he said.
Qalu, they said.
Qalu, they said.
Qulta, you said.
Qulta, you said.
Qultum, you all said.
Qultum, you all said.
Qultu, I said.
Qultu, I said.
Qulna, we said.
Qulna, we said.
Yaqulu, he says.
Yaqulu, he says.
Yaquluna, they say.
Yaquluna, they say.
Taqulu, you say.
Taqulu, you say.
Taquluna, you all say.
Taquluna, you all say.
Aqulu, I say.
Aqulu, I say.
Naqulu, we say.
Naqulu, we say.
Qul, say.
Say.
You see here, weak letter, whenever command comes, weak letter simply disappears, just runs away, scared. Okay, so here instead, you see, fa'ala, if'al, fataha, iftah, nasara, unsur. So it should have been qala, iqal, something like that, but it is not there. The weak letters just run away. So qala, qul. So repeat after me. Qul, say.
Qul, say.
Qulu, say.
Qulu, say.
La taqul, don't say.
La taqul, don't say.
La taqulu, don't say.
La taqulu, don't say.
Qa'il, the one who says.
Qa'il, the one who says.
Maqul, what is said.
Maqul, what is said.
Qaul, to say.
Qaul, to say.
Huwa qala hiya qalat, she said. Huwa yaqulu hiya taqulu, she says. Okay, so repeat after me now, or can you translate? Do the second cycle. Qala, he said. Okay, translate. Qala,
He says.
qalu,
They
they
said.
said. Okay, qala, he said. Qalu, they said. Qulta, you said. Qultum, you all said. Qultu, I said. Qulna, we said. Yaqulu, he says. Yaqulu, he says, or he will say, but we will just stick to one form, he says. Yaquluna, they say. They say. Taqulu, you say. Taquluna, you all say. Aqulu, I say. Naqulu, we say. Qul, say. Qulu, say. La taqul, don't say. La taqulu, don't say. Qa'il, the one who says or speaker. Maqul, what is said, and qaul, to say. Waqala hiya qalat, wa yaqulu hiya taqul. Now repeat after me in Arabic. It's very important verb. Qala qalu.
Qala qalu.
Qulta qultum.
Qulta qultum.
Qultu qulna.
Qultu qulna.
Yaqulu yaquluna.
Yaqulu yaquluna.
Taqulu taquluna.
Taqulu taquluna.
Aqulu naqulu.
Aqulu naqulu.
Qul qulu.
Qul qulu.
La taqul la taqulu.
La taqul la taqulu.
Qa'il.
Qa'il.
Maqul.
Maqul.
Qawl. Huwa qala hiya qalat. Huwa yaqulu hiya taqulu, she says. Once more. Qala qalu.
Qala qalu.
Qulta qultum.
Qulta qultum.
Qultu qulna.
Qultu qulna.
Yaqulu yaquluna.
Yaqulu yaquluna.
Taqulu taquluna.
Taqulu taquluna.
Aqulu naqulu.
Aqulu naqulu.
Qul qulu.
Qul qulu.
La taqul la taqulu.
La taqul la taqulu.
Qa'il.
Qa'il.
Maqul.
Maqul.
Qawl. Huwa qala hiya qalat. Huwa yaqulu hiya taqulu. Can you say with me slowly? Go ahead slowly. Qala qalu. Qulta qultum. Qultu qulna. Yaqulu yaquluna. Taqulu taquluna. Aqulu naqulu. Qul qulu. La taqul la taqulu. Qa'il maqul qawl. Huwa qala hiya qalat. Huwa yaqulu hiya taqulu. You will learn them inshallah with practice. Even if you do mistakes in the beginning, you will learn them again inshallah. So I told you that these weak letters keep changing. In qala we have alif, in yaqulu we have waw, in qul everything has gone, in qila it is said we have ya. So these waw, ya, alif keep changing with each other. The second word is qama, exactly like qala, just meme in place of qama, and qama means he stood up. He stood up. So repeat after me. Qama qamu.
Kama kamu.
Qumta qumtum.
Kunta kuntum.
Qumtu qumna.
Kuntu kunna.
Yaqumu yaqumuna. Yaqumu yaqumuna. Taqumu taqumuna. Taqumu taqumuna. Aqumu naqumu. Aqumu naqumu. Qum qumu. Qum qumu. La taqum la taqumu. La taqum la taqumu. Qa'im
Qaim.
dash
Dash.
qiyam.
Qiyam.
Huwa qama hiya qamat. You see qad qamatis salah. Salah stood up or established. Yaqumu huwa yaqumu hiya taqumu. The same as qala. So practice these thoroughly. Okay, we have learned the basic 4 different types of fa'ala, 4 abwab, which is fataha yaftahu, nasara yansuru, daraba yadribu, sami'a yasma'u. And so far we have also learned that when in one of the 3 root letters a weak letter comes. What is a weak letter? Weak letter is one of the 3, in fact, waw, ya, alif. Any one of them comes in any of the 3 places, any one of them. Like last time we studied first, in the lesson, one lesson we studied walada, wa'ada, wajada. There waw, the first letter was weak letter. In the last session we studied qala and qama. In that one the second letter was weak letter, qala and qama. The second letter was alif, a weak letter. We will continue the same thing, it is take 2 more verbs which have second letter as the weak letter, which are kana. Kana he was.
Kana he was.
Kanu they were.
Kanu they were.
Kunta you were.
Kunta you were.
Kuntum you all were.
Kuntum you all were.
Kuntu I was.
Kuntu I was.
Kunna we were.
Kunna we were.
Yakunu he is.
Yakunu he is.
You see, this is a helping verb, it keeps changing the forms. Yakununa they are.
Yakunu they are.
Takunu you are.
Takunu you are.
Takununa you are.
Takunu you are.
Akunu I am.
Nakunu I am.
Nakunu we are.
Nakunu we are.
Kun be.
Kun be.
Kunu be.
Kunu be.
La takun don't be.
Latakun don't be.
La takunu don't be.
Latakunu don't be.
Kain the one which becomes.
Kain
The one which becomes. And this is dash, nobody is affected, and kaun to be. So these are very important and they keep changing the senses as the forms change. So let us do one more time. Kana he was.
Kana he was.
Kanu they were.
Kanu they were.
Kunta you were.
Kunta you were.
Kuntum you all were.
Kuntum you all were.
Kuntu I was.
Kuntu I was.
Kunna we were.
Kunna we were.
Yakunu he is.
Yakunu he is.
By the way, yakunu he is, and if it is future he will be. Yakununa they are or they will be. Takunu you are or you will be. Takununa you are or you will be. Akunu I am or I will be. Nakunu we are or we will be. So it carries dual meanings, but that's fine. We will just stick to one present tense. So repeat after me. Yakunu he is.
Yakunu he is.
Yakununa they are.
Yakununa they are.
Takunu you are.
Takunu you are.
Takununa you are.
Takununa you are.
Akunu I am.
Akunu I am.
Nakunu we are.
Nakunu we are.
Kun be.
Kun be.
Kunu be.
Kunu be.
La takun don't be.
Latakun don't be.
La takunu don't be.
Latakun don't be.
Kain the one which becomes.
Kain
The one which becomes. Dash.
dash.
Kaun to be. To be. Okay. Huwa kana hiya. Kanat. She was. And huwa yakunu hiya takunu. She is or she will be. Okay. Now to translate this is a little tricky, that's why try to memorize it by practicing more times, but now let us focus on Arabic. Repeat after me in Arabic. Okay. Kana kanu.
Kana kanu.
Kunta kuntum.
Kunta kuntum.
Kuntu kunna.
Kuntu kunna.
Yakunu yakununa.
Yakunu yakununa.
Takunu takununa.
Takunu takununa.
Akunu nakunu.
Akunu nakunu.
Kun kunu.
Kunu kunu.
La takun la takunu.
Latakun latakunu.
Kain dash kaun. Huwa kana hiya kanat. Huwa yakunu hiya takunu. MashaAllah. Very many times, 1300 times in the Quran. So let us practice it once more. Kana kanu, kunta kuntum, kuntu kunna, yakunu yakununa, takunu takununa, akunu nakunu, kun kunu, la takun la takunu, la takun la takunu, kain kain, dash kaun kaun, huwa kana hiya kanat, huwa yakunu hiya takunu. MashaAllah. Okay, so now just listen to me and try to repeat after me in your minds or in slow voice. Okay, kana kanu, kunta kuntum, kuntu kunna, yakunu yakununa, takunu takununa, akunu nakunu, kun kunu, la takun la takunu, kain dash kaun, huwa kana hiya kanat, huwa yakunu hiya takun. MashaAllah. So many times, so we have to be enthusiastic about it. Practice it and you will learn, and that's it. So kana has alif there in the middle, yakunu has waw there in the middle, kun has nothing, just disappeared. So these weak letters work as a team, or sometimes all of them disappear because they get tired, they are weak. Kana works as a helping verb also. So that's why, just like in English, was, were, is, am, are, be, and so on. That's why. You see, for example, amila, we practiced amila. Amila, amilu, amilta, amiltum, amiltu, amilna. Ya'malu, he does. Ya'maluna, they do. Ta'malu, you do. Ta'maluna, you all do. A'malu, I do. Na'malu, we do. But if we add kana to that, then it becomes past continuous. Or kana ya'malu, he was doing. Okay, kanu ya'maluna, you have to match the two. They were doing, they were doing. Kunta ta'malu, you were doing. Kuntum ta'maluna, you all were doing. Kuntu a'malu, I was doing. Kunna na'malu, we were doing. So you have to match the two to make sense. If it is plural, that has to be plural. If it's second person, third person, everything has to be matched. Okay, and this is very, very important. The one exception with kana is when it comes with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it always means is. For example, وَكَانَ اللَّهُ عَلِيمًا حَكِيمًا, Allah is full of knowledge. إِنَّهُ كَانَ تَوَّابًا, indeed he is oft returning. We don't say Allah was, we always say is. This is specially for Allah. Now let's take another verb, taba, exactly on the same pattern. So taba means to do tawbah, to return. Just repeat after me. Taba tabu, tubta tubtum, tubtu tubna, yatubu yatubuna, tatubu tatubuna, atubu natubu, atubu natubu, tubu tubu, la tatub la tatubu, la tatub la tatub, taib dash tawbah, huwa taba hiya tabat, huwa yatubu hiya tatubu. So we'll take these 4 verbs in this lesson. And as you know, da'a, when last letter is a weak letter, it will keep changing with other letters, like with waw or ya or alif, depends on the verb itself. This da'a, this verb da'a in its different forms occurs in the Quran almost 200 times. So please do it with love and with full passion. Don't do it with, in a relaxed way or just in a take it easy way. Do it with love, do it with commitment, do it with passion, and inshallah you will learn it fast. So please translate after me Da'a, he called upon. Da'u,
they called upon.
and with action, please. I request you to do it with action. Da'auta,
You called upon.
da'autum,
You all called upon.
Da'autu,
I called upon.
da'auna, we called upon. Yad'u, he calls upon. Yad'u,
He calls upon.
Yad'una, they call upon. They call upon. Tad'u, you call upon. Tad'una, you all call upon. Ad'u, I call upon. Nad'u,
We call upon.
Ud'u,
Call
call
upon.
upon. Ud'u,
Don't call upon.
sorry, Ud'u, call upon.
Call.
La tad'u, don't call upon. La tad'u, don't call upon. Da'in, the caller. Mad'u, the one who is called upon. The one who is called upon. And du'a is to call upon. Huwa da'a hiya da'at, she called upon. Huwa yad'u hiya tad'u, she calls upon. Let us repeat in Arabic only after me. Da'a da'u,
Da'a da'u.
da'auta da'autum.
Da'auta da'autum.
You see alif is replaced by waw here. Da'auta, da'a, it's not da'ata da'atum, it's da'auta da'autum. Da'autu da'auna.
Da'autu da'auna.
Yad'u yad'una.
Yad'u yad'una.
Tad'u tad'una.
Tad'u tad'una.
Ad'u nad'u.
Ad'u nad'u.
Ud'u ud'u.
Ud'u ud'u.
La tad'u la tad'u.
La tad'u la tad'u.
Da'in
Da'in.
mad'u.
Mad'u.
Du'a.
Du'a.
Huwa da'a hiya
Da'at.
Huwa yad'u hiya
Tad'u.
tad'u. Once again, this is a basic pattern, so let us learn this pattern thoroughly. Then the rest of the verbs will fall upon and on the same pattern, will follow the same pattern, or will follow the same pattern, and you will have it easy way. So practice again. Da'a da'u.
Da'a da'u.
Da'auta da'autum.
Da'auta da'autum.
Da'autu da'auna.
Da'autu da'auna.
Yad'u yad'una.
Yad'u yad'una.
Tad'u tad'una.
Tad'u tad'una.
Ad'u nad'u.
Ad'u nad'u.
Ud'u ud'u.
Ud'u ud'u.
La tad'u la tad'u.
La tad'u la tad'u.
Da'in
Da'in.
mad'u.
Mad'u.
Du'a.
Du'a.
Huwa da'a hiya
Da'at.
da'at. Huwa yad'u hiya
Tad'u.
tad'u. MashaAllah. Now let us take another one, which is hada. This one also occurs in the Quran almost 150 times. In fact, Quran is a book of guidance, hidayah, okay, or hudal lil muttaqin. So obviously this occurs a lot of times in the Quran. So hada means he guided. Let us translate. Hada,
He guided.
Hadaw,
They guided.
guided. Hadaita,
You guided.
Hadaitum,
You all guided.
Hadaitu,
I guided.
Hadaina,
We guided.
Yahdi, he
He
guides. He guides, okay? Yahduna, they guide.
They guides.
They guide.
They guide.
Okay? Again, Yahdi, he guides. Yahduna,
They guide.
Tahdi,
You guide.
Tahduna,
You all guide.
Ahdi,
I guide.
Nahdi, we guide. Ihdi,
Guide.
Ihdu, guide.
Guide.
La tahdi, don't
Don't
guide.
guide.
La tahdu, don't guide.
all.
Don't guide. You know, our four fingers show that it is plural. So ihdi, ihdu, la tahdi, la tahdu. Hadin, the one who guides. Mahdi,
The one who is guided.
And hidayah,
Guidance.
Hidayah or huda means guidance. Huwa hada hiya hadat, she guided. Huwa yahdi hiya tahdi, she guides. Let us repeat it in Arabic, thinking what you're saying. Okay, just think what you say. Let's understand what you say. After me. Hada hadaw.
Hada hadaw.
Hadaita hadaitum.
Hadaita hadaitum.
Hadaitu hadaina.
Hadaitu hadaina.
Yahdi yahduna.
Yahdi yahduna.
Tahdi tahduna.
Tahdi tahduna.
Ahdi nahdi.
Ahdi nahdi.
Ihdi ihdu.
Ihdi ihdu.
La tahdi la tahdu.
La tahdi la tahdu.
Hadin
Hadin.
mahdi.
Mahdi.
Hidayah.
Hidayah.
Huwa hada hiya
Hadat.
hadat. Huwa yahdi hiya
Tahdi.
tahdi. MashaAllah. Just once more. Hada hadaw.
Hada hadaw.
Hadaita hadaitum.
Hadaita hadaitum.
Hadaitu hadaina.
Hadaitu hadaina.
Yahdi yahduna.
Yahdi yahduna.
Tahdi tahduna.
Tahdi tahduna.
ahdi nahdi,
ahdi nahdi,
ihdi ihdu,
ihdi ihdu,
la tahdi la tahdu,
la tahdi la tahdu,
hadin
hadin,
mahdi
mahdi,
hidayah,
hidayah,
huwa hadahiya
Hadat.
huwa yahdihiya.
tahdi.
The next verb is radiya. Radiya means he is pleased, or he is satisfied, or he agreed, many meanings. Now right now what we will do is, you already know how to translate, so we'll just take Arabic forms and inshallah what they mean. Radiya in its different forms occurs in the Quran almost 60 times, so that is also very important. And the reference verb or reference sentence is radiyallahu anhu or radiyallahu anha, may Allah be pleased with him or her. So this is very important verb. So repeat after me. Radiya radu,
Radiya radu,
radita raditum,
radita raditum,
raditu radina,
raditu radina,
yarda yardawna,
yarda yardana,
tarda tardawna,
tarda tardana,
arda narda,
arda narda,
irda irdaw,
irda irdaw,
la tarda la tardaw,
la tarda la tardaw,
radin
radin,
mardiyun
mardiyun,
rida,
rida,
huwa radiya hiya
Radiyat.
radiyat, huwa yarda hiya
tarda,
tarda. Again, radiya radu,
radiya radu,
radita raditum,
radita raditum,
raditu radina,
raditu radina,
yarda yardawna,
yarda yardana,
tarda tardawna,
tarda tardana,
arda narda,
arda narda,
irda irdaw,
irda irdaw,
la tarda la tardaw,
la tarda la tardaw,
radin
radin,
mardiyun
mardiyun,
rida,
rida,
huwa radiya hiya
Radiyat.
huwa yarda hiya
tarda.
tarda. The next verb, the last of this session, is khashiya. Khashiya means he feared, and this verb in its different forms occurs in the Quran almost 50 times, a little less than radiya. So khashiya means he feared or he was afraid. So let us practice only in Arabic. After me. Khashiya khashu,
Khashiya khashu,
khashita khashitum,
khashita khashitum,
khashitu khashina,
khashitu khashina,
yakhsha yakhshawna,
yaksha yakshawna,
takhsha takhshawna,
taksha takshawna,
akhsha nakhsha,
aksha naksha,
ikhsha ikhshaw,
yaksha yakshaw,
la takhsha la takhshaw,
la taksha la takshaw,
khashin.
khashin,
See, khashin means the one who fears, so nobody is affected. And the one who is fearing, and the effect of fear is on himself. So this is dash. Okay? Dash.
dash,
Khashiyya.
khashiya,
Huwa khashiyya hiya.
khashiyat,
Khashiyat. Huwa yakhsha hiya.
taksha,
Takhsha. She fears or she will fear. So let us repeat once more. Khashiya khashu.
khashiya khashu,
Khashita khashitum.
khashita khashitum,
Khashitu khashina.
khashitu khashina,
Yakhsha yakhshawna.
yaksha yakshawna,
Takhsha takhshawna.
taksha takshawna,
Akhsha nakhsha.
aksha naksha,
Ikhsha ikhshaw.
yaksha yakshaw,
La takhsha la takhshaw.
la taksha la takshaw,
Khashin.
khashin,
Dash.
dash,
Khashiyya.
khashiya,
Huwa khashiyya hiya.
khashiyat,
Huwa yakhsha hiya.
taksha.
Takhsha. MashaAllah. So we learned all those verbs where the ending letter is a weak letter. The patterns of fa'ala that we have learned so far are fataha, nasara, daraba, sami'a. 4 most important patterns. There are 2 more, but they are not that many, that they do not occur that many times in the Quran. So these 4 are very important. And how to remember them? If you open the Quran, fataha, Allah will help you. Nasara. Otherwise you will be hit. Daraba. Therefore listen.
Sami'a.
Again, if you open the Quran,
Fataha,
Allah will help you.
nasara,
Otherwise you will be hit.
daraba,
Therefore listen.
Sami'a.
Listen to what Allah says. And this is the promise of Allah. After that we have done special cases. Wa'ada, qala, da'a, amara and dalla. These are special cases. For example, wa'ada has a weak letter in the beginning. Qala has a weak letter in the middle. And da'a has a weak letter in the end. Today we will take those verbs which have hamza. For example, amara. Amara has first letter as hamza, a, amara. They also, such letters, this hamza also behaves sometimes similar to a weak letter. That's why it is classified separately here. And the last one is dalla, where the root letter is repeated. So we have wa'ada, qala, da'a, amara and dalla. 5 special cases. How will you remember them? Let's continue what we said. If you open the Quran, fataha, Allah will help you nasara, otherwise you will be hit, daraba. Therefore listen. This is the promise of Allah. Wa'ada. What is that promise? That Allah will help you. He said it in the Quran. Qala, that He will help you if you help Him. And therefore pray to Allah, da'a, ask Him that we follow His commands. Amara. Otherwise we will get lost. Dalla. Again, let us practice these 5 special cases. This is the promise of Allah. He said it in the Quran. So pray to Allah that we follow His commands. Otherwise we will be lost. Again, this is the promise of Allah. He said it in the Quran. Therefore pray to Allah that we follow His orders. Otherwise we will get lost. So let's start with amara. Amara means He ordered. He commanded. Amara. Translate, He commanded. Okay, amara,
He commanded.
Amaru,
They commanded.
amarta,
You commanded.
amartum,
You all commanded.
amartu,
I commanded.
amarna,
We commanded.
ya'muru,
He commands.
ya'muruna,
They all command.
ta'muru, you command, ta'muruna,
You all command.
amuru,
I command.
na'muru,
We command.
mur,
Command.
muru,
Command.
You see, in this one, as you see, it should have been umur, something like that, but hamza is gone here, just like a weak letter. So we have just mur, command or order, muru, and la ta'mur, don't command. Translate, la ta'mur,
Don't command.
la ta'muru,
Don't command.
amir,
The one who commands.
the one who commands, ma'mur,
The one who is commanded.
the one who is commanded, and amr,
To command.
to command, to order. Huwa amara hiya,
Amarat.
amarat, she commanded. Huwa ya'muru hiya,
Ta'muru.
ta'muru, she commands. Now let us just practice in Arabic. Repeat after me. Amara, amaru,
Amara, amaru.
thinking what you are saying, okay? Amarta, amartum,
Amarta, amartum.
amartu, amarna,
Amartu, amarna.
ya'muru, ya'muruna,
Ya'muru, ya'muruna.
ta'muru, ta'muruna,
Ta'muru, ta'muruna.
amuru, na'muru,
Amuru, na'muru.
mur, muru,
Mur, muru.
la ta'mur, la ta'muru,
La ta'mur, la ta'muru.
amir,
Amir.
ma'mur,
Ma'mur.
amr.
Amr.
Huwa amara hiya,
Amarat.
amarat. Huwa ya'muru hiya,
Ta'muru.
ta'muru. Almost 250 times in the Quran. So very important. And let us remember this pattern specially. Once more. Amara, amaru,
Amara, amaru.
amarta, amartum,
Amarta, amartum.
amartu, amarna,
Amartu, amarna.
ya'muru, ya'muruna,
Ya'muru, ya'muruna.
ta'muru, ta'muruna,
Ta'muru, ta'muruna.
amuru, na'muru.
Amuru, na'muru.
You see here, it is not a'muru. We have ya'muru, ta'muru, but it is not a'muru. Remember in Arabic, when two hamzas mix, then one of them just drops. So not drops, becomes alif. So amuru. Okay, after me. Amuru, na'muru.
Amuru, na'muru.
Mur, muru.
Mur, muru.
La ta'mur, la ta'muru.
La ta'mur, la ta'muru.
Amir,
Amir.
ma'mur,
Ma'mur.
amr.
Amr.
Huwa amara hiya,
Amarat.
huwa ya'muru hiya.
Ta'muru.
Let's take the second verb, which also occurs in the Quran almost 250 times, which is ra'a. Ra'a means he saw. This has hamza as well as a weak letter at the end, so you will see some double effects here. Ra'a means he saw. We have studied, for example, or we will study ara'aita or alam tara and so on. So translate, ra'a, he saw.
He saw.
Ra'au,
They saw.
ra'aita,
You saw.
ra'aitum,
You all saw.
ra'aitu,
I saw.
ra'aina,
We saw.
yara,
He sees.
he sees, yarawna,
They see.
they see, tara,
You see.
tarawna,
You all see.
ara,
I see.
nara,
We see.
ra,
See.
Raw.
See.
La tara.
Don't see.
La taru.
Don't see.
La taraw. Don't see.
see.
Ra'in.
The one
The one who sees. Mar'iyun.
The one which sees.
The one which is seen. Ra'yun.
To see.
Huwa ra'a hiya.
Ra'at.
Ra'at. Huwa yara hiya.
Tara.
Now repeat after me in Arabic. Ra'a ra'aw.
Ra'au.
Ra'ayta ra'aytum.
Ra'aita ra'aytum.
Ra'aytu ra'ayna.
Ra'aytu ra'ayna.
Yara yarawna.
Yara yarawna.
Tara tarawna.
Tara tarawna.
Ara nara.
Ara nara.
Ra raw.
Raw.
La tara la taraw.
La taraw.
Ra'in.
Ra'in.
Mar'iyun.
Mar'iyun.
Ra'yun.
Ra'yun.
Huwa ra'a hiya.
Ra'at.
Huwa yara hiya.
Tara.
Tara. Now let's take another verb which is ata, also almost 250 times. Ata means he came. Ata means he came. Okay? Repeat after me. Ata ataw.
Ata ataw.
Ataita ataitum.
Ataita ataitum.
Ataitu ataina.
Ataitu ataina.
Ya'ti ya'tuna.
Ya'ti ya'tuna.
Ta'ti ta'tuna.
Ta'ti ta'tuna.
Ati na'ti.
Ati na'ti.
Iti itu.
Iti itu.
La ta'ti la ta'tu.
La ta'ti la ta'tu.
Atin.
Atin.
Ma'tiyun.
Ma'tiyun.
Ityan.
Ityan.
Huwa ata hiya.
Atat.
Atat. Huwa ya'ti hiya.
Ta'ti.
Ta'ti. Ata means he came, so let us also translate it once because it's very important, comes many times. So translate ata,
He came.
Ataw,
They came.
ataita,
You came.
ataitum,
You all came.
ataitu,
I came.
ataina,
We came.
ya'ti,
He comes.
ya'tuna,
They come.
ta'ti,
You come. You
ta'tuna,
all come.
ati.
I come.
Here also you see it is not ati, it is ati. Nati,
We come.
iti.
Come.
Here also it is not iti, it is iti. Itu,
Come.
La ta'ti,
Don't come.
La ta'tu,
Don't come.
Atin,
One
the one who
comes.
comes, Ma'tiyun.
The one.
This is used in the Quran also, but Atin, the one who comes, you don't have to translate this, and Ityan,
To come.
Huwa ata hiya,
Atat.
Huwa ya'ti hiya,
Ta'ti.
ta'ti. Ata comes sometimes with a preposition which is ba. Ata bi. Ata means, bi means with. Ata bi, he came with. That means he brought. He came with something. That means he brought. So you will have ata bi, atau bi, ataita bi, ataitum bi. It can be with any object. Ata bi kitab, that means he came with a book. Atau bi kitab, they came with a book, and so on. So repeat just once after me. Ata atau.
Ata ataw.
Ataita ataitum.
Ataita ataitum.
Ataitu ataina.
Ataitu ataina.
Ya'ti ya'tuna.
Ya'ti ya'tuna.
Ta'ti ta'tuna.
Ta'ti ta'tuna.
Ati na'ti.
Ati na'ti.
Iti itu.
Iti itu.
La ta'ti la ta'tu.
La ta'ti la ta'tu.
Atin.
Atin.
Ma'tiyun.
Ma'tiyun.
Ityan.
Ityan.
Huwa atahiya.
Atat.
Huwa ya'tihiya.
Ta'ti.
Lastly, we have ja'a, which also occurs in the Quran almost 250 times. Ja'a means he came. Ja'a also means he came, and ja'a bi means he came with. Suppose ja'a bi kitab, that means he came with the book. That means he brought the book. So ja'a means he came. Translate. Ja'a,
He came.
ja'u,
They came.
ji'ta,
You came.
ji'tum,
You all came.
ji'tu,
I came.
ji'na.
We came.
Yaji'u,
He comes.
In Arab world we say, yaji ba'da shoy. He will come after a while. So yaji means he comes or he will come. Yaji'una,
They
come.
come.
Taji'u,
You come.
taji'una,
You all come.
aji'u,
I come.
I come. So if you say, if you want to say, I will come after a while, so aji ba'da shoy, that means I will come after a while. That's a slang. Okay, naji'u,
We
we
come.
come. These are the forms that are that are used in the Quran. Ji'u, la taji'u doesn't occur. But anyway, let's complete. Come. Ji'u,
Come.
la taji',
Don't come.
la taji'u,
Don't come.
ja'in,
The one who comes.
one who comes, dash, and maji'un, to come. Huwa ja'a hiya,
Ja'at.
ja'at. This also occurs in the Quran. Huwa ji'u hiya,
Taji'u.
ji'u. So repeat after me. Ja'a ja'u,
Ja'a ja'u.
ji'ta ji'tum,
Jita jitum.
ji'tu ji'na,
Jitu jina.
and huwa ja'a hiya,
Ja'at.
ja'at. Only fa'il madi is what occurs mostly in the Quran as far as ja'a is concerned. So far we have learned the verbs with weak letters. Wa'ada, wajada, qala, kana, qama, da'a, hada, radiya, khashiya, and in amara we have amara, ata, ja'a, ra'a. Today we will take those verbs which follow the pattern of dalla, that is, which have repeated root letters. So let us take the first verb dalla, which occurs in the Quran almost 113 times, 100 times, more than 100 times. Dalla is he went astray. Okay, Dalla, he went astray. So translate, Dalla,
He went astray.
Dallu,
They went astray.
Dalalta.
You went astray.
Now you see, in Dalla here we have the two lam joined, the two lams joined, Dalla. But here they are separated, Dalalta. So that is the special, kind of behavior of verbs where the two letters are repeated. Sometimes they are joined, sometimes they are separated. Why? You can just see Dalalta. To say Dalalta is very, uneasy. Dalalta is easy. So the Arabs have separated it. So if you practice a little bit, inshallah, you will know all these cases. So translate. Dalalta, you went astray. Dalaltum,
You all went astray.
Dalaltu,
I went astray.
Dalalna,
We went astray.
Now we are not stating our beliefs, we are just practicing the meanings. Sometimes we will say, oh, what kind of Arabic practice is this? We went astray, you went astray. No, it's just we are practicing the meanings, we are not stating our beliefs. Now continue. Yadillu, he goes astray. Yadilluna,
They go astray.
Tadillu,
You go astray.
Tadilluna,
You all go astray.
Adillu,
I go astray.
Nadillu.
We go astray.
Dilla,
Go astray.
You see here, this is also very special. It is not idlil, okay? It is dilla, very special. Just forget about alif before, like if'al or iftah. So don't say idlil, it is dilla. Go astray. Dillu,
Go astray.
go astray. La tadil,
Don't go astray.
la tadillu,
Don't go astray.
and dal, the one who goes astray. The plural of dal is dallun, dallin, and that's what we have in Surah Al-Fatiha. Ghayril maghdubi alayhim walad dallin. Those who go astray. So dal, the three. We just have a small movement in the hand to show plural. Dallin or dallun. Anyway, dal is the one who goes astray, and nobody is affected. Nobody is affected if one goes astray. There is no second party which is affected. That's why you don't have ism maf'ul. So we say dash. And to go astray, dalala. Dalala is to go astray. Huwa dalla hiya dallat. She went astray, and huwa yadillu hiya tadillu. She goes astray. To go astray is to lose the way, to get lost. Okay, now let us practice only in Arabic. After me. Dalla, dallu.
Walla, wallu.
Dalalta, dalaltum.
Dalalta, dalaltum.
Dalaltu, dalalna.
Dalaltu, dalalna.
Yadillu, yadilluna.
Yadillu, yadilluna.
Tadillu, tadilluna.
Tadillu, tadilluna.
Adillu, nadillu.
Adillu, nadillu.
Dilla, dillu.
Dilla, dillu.
La tadil, la tadillu.
La tadillu, la tadillu.
Dal,
Dal,
dash,
dash,
dalala.
dalala.
هو ضل هي
ضلت.
ضلت. هو يضل هي
تضل.
تضل. Again, Let us remember this pattern thoroughly. Dalla, dallu,
Dalla, dallu.
dalalta, dalaltum,
Dalalta, dalaltum.
dalaltu, dalalna,
Dalaltu, dalalna.
yadillu, yadilluna,
Yadillu, yadilluna.
tadillu, tadilluna,
Tadillu, tadilluna.
adillu, nadillu,
Adillu, nadillu.
dilla, dillu,
Dilla, dillu.
la tadill, la tadillu,
La tadillu, la tadillu.
dal,
Dal,
dash,
dash,
dalala.
dalala.
هو ضل هي
ضلت.
ضلت هو يضل هي
تضل.
Another verbal noun is dalal. There are two verbal nouns. Sometimes you have more than verbal nouns also. More than one verbal noun. Dalal and dalala. Both are used. Can you say it with me slowly? Dalla, dallu, dalalta, dalaltum, dalaltu, ضللنا يضل يضلون تضل تضلون أضل نضل ضل ضل لا تضل لا تضل ضال داش ضلالة وضل هي
ضلت.
ويضل هي
تضل.
تضل ما شاء الله. Now dhanna means he assumed. Okay, let's take one of them and practice. Translate. Dhanna,
He assumed.
dhannu,
They assumed.
they assumed. Dhananta,
You assumed.
dhanantum,
We all assumed.
dhanantu,
I assumed.
dhananna,
We assumed.
yadhunnu,
He assumes.
yadhunnuna,
They assume.
tadhunnu,
You assume.
tadhunnuna,
You all assume.
adhunnu,
I assume.
nadhunnu,
We assume.
dhanna,
Assume.
assume, dhunnu,
Assume.
Here also you don't say udhnun, you just say dhanna, dhunnu. La tadhunn,
Don't assume.
La tadhunnu,
Don't assume.
dhan,
One who assumes.
one who assumes. And the plural of dhan is dhannun, dhannin. And Quran has dhannina bisu in Surah Fath. Al-huruf al-jazima wan-nasiba. I just want to make this simple for you. Let us call them choppers and hammers. Okay, these are starting words or letters. They are called letters, but you can call them as words also. They are words lam and lan. Grammatically they are called huruf, just like huruf jar, like min, an. But anyway, choppers and hammers, what are they? Start with choppers. That is lam and lamma and some other words when they are preceding فعل مضارع. يفعل يفعلون تفعل تفعلون أفعل نفعل. Just remember this part only of the whole table of فعل. Just focus now on يفعل يفعلون تفعل تفعلون أفعل نفعل. Just these. And when one of these is preceded, of course that includes the feminine form also, تفعل and so on. When these are preceded by lam or lamma, these lam and lamma act like chopper and they cut yaf'alu, the u of yaf'alu, the dhamma of yaf'alu, and it becomes yaf'al. And also they cut noon of yaf'aluna, so it becomes yaf'alu. Similarly, lam taf'al, lam taf'alu, lam af'al, lam naf'al. So lam yaf'alu becomes lam yaf'al, lam taf'alu becomes lam taf'al, and yaf'aluna becomes yaf'alu. Very simply, add lam or lamma or conditional words like in and so on. Yaf'alu becomes yaf'al, yaf'aluna becomes yaf'alu. And the same way for the rest. Practice, repeat after me. Lam yaf'al,
لم يفعل
لم يفعلوا
لم يفعلوا
لم تفعل
لم تفعل
لم تفعلوا
لم تفعلوا
لم أفعل
لم أفعل
لم نفعل.
لم نفعل.
That's all. Instead of u, it becomes al. خلاص. So let us repeat again 2 times. لم يفعل
لم يفعل
لم يفعلوا
لم يفعلوا
لم تفعل
لم تفعل
لم تفعلوا
لم تفعلوا
لم أفعل
لم أفعل
لم نفعل.
لم نفعل.
What's the meaning of lam? Lam is did not. لم يفعل, he did not do. Lastly, once more, لم يفعل
لم يفعل
لم يفعلوا
لم يفعل
لم تفعل
لم تفعل
لم تفعلوا
لم تفعلوا
لم أفعل
لم أفعل
لم نفعل.
لم نفعل.
You can also have لما يفعل or إن يفعل. All those words, the chopper words, will make it so. And if you have a weak letter, the same thing goes there, like لم يعيدوا will becomes لم يعيد لم يعيدوا لم تعيد لم تعيدوا لم أعيد لم نعيد. And the best example to remember is لم يلد ولم يولد. You see, it is not لم يلدوا, it is لم يلد ولم يولد. Similarly, if you have weak letters like لم يقولوا, so if you apply this in Arabic, you cannot have 2 jazm, 2 sukun. لم يقول. So what happens? The chopper has to act, so it chops the waw. So يقول becomes يقل. لم يقل لم يقولوا. Can you repeat after me? لم يقل
لم يقل
لم يقولوا
لم يقولوا
لم تقل
لم تقل
لم تقولوا
لم تقولوا
لم أقل
لم أقل
لم نقل.
لم نقل.
And the same thing happens to يكون also. لم يكن لم يكونوا لم تكن لم تكونوا لم أكن لم نكن. Okay, that was about choppers. Very simple and interesting. I don't think you will forget that. The second one is hammer. The hammer words or hammers. What are they? When يفعلوا, everything, these choppers and hammers relate to only فعل مضارع. Okay, not anyone else. So when يفعلوا يفعلون تفعلوا تفعلون أفعلون أفعلوا is preceded by hammer words or hammers, which are لن or أن, this U is kind of hammered or pressed to A. So يفعل becomes يفعل, and the noon also is pressed to become alif. So يفعلون becomes يفعلوا. So let's take that practice. لن يفعل
لن يفعل
لن يفعلوا
لن يفعلوا
لن تفعل
لن تفعل
لن تفعلوا
لن تفعلوا
لن أفعل
لن أفعل
لن نفعل.
لن نفعل.
Again, لن يفعل
لن يفعل
لن يفعلوا
لن يفعلوا
لن تفعل
لن تفعل
لن تفعلوا
لن تفعلوا
لن أفعل
لن أفعل
لن نفعل.
لن نفعل.
So here it becomes just A, and the plural يفعلون becomes يفعلوا. Do you remember the same thing happening for لم يفعلوا لن يفعلوا? As far as يفعلون is concerned, lam or lan both have the same effect. If you have a weak letter, for example يعيد, so it will be لن يعيد لن يعيد لن تعيد لن تعيد لن أعيد لن نعيد. Similarly, if you have يقول, that's simple here. So لن يقول لن يقولوا. So repeat after me, because this occurs in the Quran many times. So لن يقول
لن يقول
لن يقولوا
لن يقولوا
لن تقول
لن تقول
لن تقولوا
لن تقولوا
لن أقول
لن أقول
لن نقول.
لن نقول.
Similarly, if you have kana, it will become لن يكون.
لن يكون
Repeat, لن يكون
لن يكون
لن يكونوا
لن يكونوا
لن تكون
لن تكون
لن تكونوا
لن تكونوا
لن أكون
لن أكون
لن نكون.
لن نكون.
So, in brief, you have standard situation, standard condition of فعل مضارع, which is مرفوع. مرفوع means raised up. So يفعلوا يفعلوا يفعلون تفعلوا تفعلون أفعلون أفعلوا. The second condition is when it is preceded by lan or those hammers, then it becomes lan يفعل, that is mansub. يفعل يفعلوا لن تفعل لن تفعلوا لن أفعل لن نفعل. And the third one is majzoom, which is when it is preceded by choppers, it becomes لن يفعل لم يفعل لم يفعلوا لم تفعل لم تفعلوا لم أفعل لم نفعل. So there are 3 there are three situations or or conditions that fi'l mudari has, that is yaf'alu or yaf'ala or yaf'al, depending on who precedes those letters, those words. We will start derived forms of verbs from this lesson onwards. What are those derived forms? These derived forms are formed when you add 1 or 2 or 3 letters to the 3-letter roots. With example, it will be very clear. But before we go there, similar things exist in English. Not exactly, but similar. You add prefix to verbs and make another verb. For example, do is a verb. Redo is another verb. You just add re. Search and research. Or tract or distract. Mount, dismount. And you have other, prefixes also, like re, dis, en, de, demotivate, or im, or co, or un, or mis, guide, misguide, and so on. In Arabic, we have fa'ala, and we can add letters to these fa'ala and make 14 different forms. But 8 of them are very common, and those 8 are fa'ala, fa'ala, af'ala, tafa'ala, tafa'ala, infa'ala, ifta'ala, istaf'ala. Don't be scared, we'll make it simple inshallah. So the additions here are the tashdid and alif and hamza and ta and tashdid, ta and alif, alif noon, alif ta, alif sin ta. To remember all these forms easily, we have a simple trick. We'll explain that after a while. But in dictionary, these are numbered as 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and we are not teaching you 9th form, which occurs very rarely in the Quran, which is if'alla, and the 10th is istaghfara. Then what is the first one? First one is fa'ala, the basic form. The rest are 2, 3, 4, and so on, derived forms. To remember this, we have 3 simple sentences. Remember 3 sentences, and inshallah you will memorize this. Tasbih and mujahada are from the foundations of Islam. Tasbih and mujahada are from basics of Islam. Tasbih, mujahada, Islam. If we want to continue do good work, we have to do tadabbur in the Quran individually, and tadarus of the Quran, that is do group studies, which is tadarus, tadabbur and tadarus. So this is second sentence. What will happen? There will be inqilab, or we will, inqilab in English means to return, to come back. So if we do that, we will come back, inqilab, we will have inqilab in such a way that there will be less ikhtilaf. The differences will decrease, will reduce, ikhtilaf will reduce, because we are not connected with the Quran, so we have a lot of differences in our opinions. We are having so many groups, but inshallah, if we hold tight to the rope of Allah, the ikhtilaf will reduce. And if you do all those things, then at the end we should do istighfar. Ask Allah's forgiveness. So we have 3 columns, 3 sentences, and for each of these we can remember the basic 3rd person masculine fi'l madi form, which is sabbaha, jahada, aslama. So I will give you 3 sentences and you will tell me those forms, the sabbaha, jahada, aslama forms. Tasbih and mujahada are from basics of Islam. Sabbaha, jahada, aslama. So repeat after me. Tasbih. So you answer me. Tasbih and mujahada are from basics of Islam. Sabbaha, jahada, aslama. If you want to continue, if you go ahead with these, with tadabbur, if you want to continue, then we have to do tadabbur and tadarus, which is tadabbara and tadarasa. If you want to perform, if you want to go forward, we have to do tadabbur individually and we have to do tadarus. Tadabbara, tadarasa. If we do all of these, then we'll come back. If we go ahead with these one, then we'll come back. We'll have inqilab with less ikhtilaf, and at the end we do istighfar, meaning inqalaba ikhtalafa, istaghfara. Again, if we continue with these activities, we will come back, we'll have inqilab with less ikhtilaf. At the end, we do istighfar. Inqalaba, ikhtalafa, istaghfara. A little practice, inshallah, will help you remember all these forms, which are sabbaha, jahada, aslama, tadabbara, tadarasa, inqalaba, ikhtalafa, istaghfara. I'm sure things are settling down. Don't be scared. We have many lessons coming onwards. Coming after this, where we'll practice these again and again. Remember, there are almost 9,000 words in the Quran which follow the pattern of mazid fi. 8,700 or more. Almost 9,000. There are, in a typical mushaf, 9,000 lines. Of 600 pages and 15 lines per page, there are 9,000 lines. So therefore, mazid fi occurs in every line of the Quran on the average, so you cannot neglect it. And inshallah, it will be very easy very soon. And these are the different forms, like sabbaha occurs almost 1,600 times, sabbaha patterns, and jahada patterns almost 500 times, and aslama patterns occur almost 4,500 times, and so on. The most commonly occurring mazid fi is aslama, 4,500 times. So we got to learn them. We cannot neglect them, and inshallah they will be easy as we learn. In fact, as I say, they'll become ladith, tasty, inshallah. Instead of mazid extra efforts, they will be very easy to learn. And inshallah, we'll see you in the next lesson. Subhanallah wa bihamdihi, subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika, nashhadu an la ilaha illa anta, nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk. Wassalamu alaykum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
ইসলামিক মিডিয়া বিডি সম্পূর্ণ সহিহ আকীদা ভিত্তিক একটি অনলাইন মিডিয়া। ইসলামের সহি জ্ঞান সবার মাঝে ছড়িয়ে দিয়ে দুনিয়া ও আখিরাতে মহা কল্যাণ অর্জন করাই এই মিডিয়াটির মূল লক্ষ্য। পরিপূর্ণ সহিহ আকীদা ভিত্তিক এই চ্যানেলটি সাবস্ক্রাইব করার জন্য সকলের প্রতি বিশেষ অনুরোধ রইল। আল্লাহ সকলকে উত্তম প্রতিদান দিক এবং আমাদের এই চ্যানেলটিকে কবুল করে নিক, আমিন। আমাদের সাথে যোগাযোগ youtube.com/islamicmediabd17 islamicmediabd17@gmail.com facebook.com/bd.selimhosen youtube.com/selimhosen আলহামদুলিল্লাহ। আল্লাহ সকলকে ভালো রাখুক, সুস্থ রাখুক, পরিপূর্ণ ঈমান এবং আমলের উপর রাখুক, আমিন। আসসালামু আলাইকুম ওয়া রাহমাতুল্লাহ।